Well, I've had a typical bureaucracy day with the bureaucracy today, getting my driver's license what can I say, renewed, and it took quite a while. And I can understand how people who come out here, they come out and they find some of the things that you have to go through to get paperwork handled can be very frustrating. But it's only frustrating. I've decided for me is that if you bring with you your conditioning, your the way that you, oh, by the way, those are not gunshots, those are kids. They do these bamboo, hollowed out bamboo, well, it's hollowed out anyway, but they do these things and on compression they can make that sound like a gunshot. So it's kind of like a cheap renewable firework. So anyway, back to an expat coming over here from a foreign country where the bureaucracy is a little finer tuned. Well, today I went round to one office and the woman, it turned out that they couldn't help me. But anyway, while I'm sitting there, suddenly realized that the lady was actually working on a typewriter. And it was the kind of typewriter that you have to go click, 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 click. And she wasn't doing the Hollywood stereotypical reporter that's going diddle 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 diddle. No, it wasn't like that. It was click, click, click. I remarked on that, but because that's what she works with every day, she actually didn't understand what I'm talking about and ignored what I was saying. I said, gosh, a typewriter. Well, anyway, contrary to that, I went round and I renewed my driver's license. Well, I was actually out of date on it. I should have renewed it. I think it was on my birthday, and just missed that it was supposed to be renewed. And then for some reason we had to check my I had to offer my driver's license as ID, so it was seen, it became evident that it was actually out of date, overdue. Now I expected to have to pay 1,000 pesos or more penalty because when we renewed the registration on my truck, we went there, and we were charged, I think, 1,500 penalty for not renewing it on time. So we expected that it would be that way with the license, but it wasn't. Now the thing that keeps coming up at me on any time that I have to do a chore like this is that when you're a foreigner, now one of the criticisms that those who don't like the fact that older foreigners like me come over here and have a new life based on what may be, as in my case, a not very big pension. So we come over here and it can be said that we run away from our country of origin because the pension that we've got would simply not allow us to live. Now that doesn't seem like a stupid thing to do. That seems to me to be a very sensible thing to do, that if you can go to a place where you would actually be happier and have another chance, not a second chance. I've had more than 2 chances at my life, messed up some of them, and been successful at others, including this one. And we come over here, and the money that we get, while being insufficient to live in the current country of origin, it's enough to live here and start again. Now, while I'm talking about that, I can mention someone saying to me, aren't you concerned that you're the one providing everything for your partner? Well, of course, these are trolls in disguise. They're making a point which cannot be answered, and they make it stick as if it's some kind of underhand dig at you. See, so what you then have to do is either ignore it or make a response which is enough to handle the dig. Well, in my particular case, I came over, and I've never made a secret of this, and to me it should be regarded as being a success story, but people, the ones, haters are always going to hate. That's what they do. And then people who would normally congratulate you are the ones that are, well, if the ones who hate are haters, the ones who love you are lovers, and in that sense. And we worked together. Beth and I worked together. We started off with what I've already admitted is not a very big pension, a little one from the UK and a small one from the US, which is where I spent something a little over 20 years working and paying into the system. So I get a pension from them, and I get a pension from the UK. So we were able to live on that, and then we started together, we started our channel, which is what you are looking at me right now on our channel. So when people say, well, you're paying for everything, and your wife got rich on your, these criticisms are not valid, because we worked very hard together. And while we were doing that, we also started our charity, which was in helping people who were a lot less fortunate than we were. Now, back to my driver's license. It occurred to me that as an expat, it's an awful lot easier to handle these things if you have somebody with you who is part of that culture. Now, Beth wasn't able to come with me today, so Glycer, one of our students who, if you watch our videos, you will often see Glycer helping out and being with us. She's not just one of our students, she's a friend. And she came along with me, and here's the funny thing. When you're a foreigner, you're, without even realizing it, you are working on the kind of structure, infrastructure that you would encounter if you were doing that chore in your own country. So I know that when you are in, say, the US, you go and you're in a huge office with, actually where I was in Fort Myers, with quite luxurious surroundings, and something that's all on computer, and it's all being called out, and you get a number, and you do this and you do that, and everything is known to you because you've been brought up that way, or certainly evolved with the system. Now, so when Beth tells me, right, what you're going to do is you're going to do this first, you'll go to get the medical first, and then when you've done the medical, you wait for the, and she outlined it all, and I'm thinking, hold on a minute, I'm not a child, what is all of this? I'm going to have breakfast first. No, don't do that. And eventually, sense got through this thick skull, and I just gave up to what Glycer is going to do as Beth has instructed her. Well, we also had an inside contact in the LTO who was going to help us, and he had set up an appointment for us. You go there, you have to have your medical. Medical is very, very easy. You may have a blood test for drugs. As it happened, I didn't have to have a blood test, but I did what was required of me there in one little office, paid for what I was supposed to have. Lots and lots of people waiting to have their permits, like a license is a driving permit, and they were there probably for work permits, for going abroad, for doing all kinds of things, not just strictly to do with driving licenses, is what I'm trying to say. So I went there because I'm a senior. I went to the front. In many cases I didn't have to wait. It's a wonderful thing about being here in the Philippines, is that you're treated very respectfully when you're a senior, and I never encounter any animosity as a result of going to the front of the line. Filipinos just accept that this is the rule, and even if you're a foreigner, they still respect that. So I never get any animosity going to the front of the line. When I go to the bank, it's very easily, because on the desks, there's say 3 or 4 in our bank, 3 or 4 or 5 desks that you can go to, and one of them will always say seniors, pregnant women, and people with disabilities. So you go to that and everybody knows you're a senior and everything is fine. So when you go to do something which you normally don't do, I've only ever done this once for my driver's license, and now I think I've got 10 years on my driver's license, probably outlast me. So I go there and I put myself completely in the hands of Glycer. As she tells me to sit down, I go and sit down obediently. She helps me through the forms, even things which I have to say to her, is it in English? And she'll say, yes, Daddy. I say, I speak English, but I give myself up and lose the arrogance, and things go very smoothly. She speaks to the security guard and said he's a senior. He then understands her. He takes our paperwork. Not immediately. We did have some waiting to do, but between one station and the next. And then there's a clear board which tells you stage 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, until finally you get retrieval. And believe it or not, I went there today. I spent a few hours. At 12 o'clock, the security guard came and said to Glycer, the cashier is going to lunch. Why don't you go to lunch? Which is what we did. We went and had lunch at PP Coffee, and then we came back. And when we came back, we were processed very quickly. Now, here's the thing, is that the final step is quite amazing, because you go in, sit in front of a camera, and they do some kind of imaging, take 2 fingerprints, which actually go recorded somewhere. They do require a great deal of information about family, right? Father and mother, names, middle names, where they were born, stuff like this. So this is unusual for a driver's license, but you're in a foreign country. So when we finally go, we pay, and then we go in, and I sit in front of a camera. The man shows me what is actually going on the license, and he checks the information. So you are Terence Peter Martin, and you live in Burgos, Talabon, and right, you put your finger down here, finger down there, and then you're looking at a monitor, and the monitor is showing you what your driver's license will look like. And when you and the man who is helping you agree that this is everything correct, then he just presses enter and out comes a driver's license. It's amazing. And you get that on the spot. So while at first it seems like you're taking an inordinate amount of time to do something, you end up with a license, which I thought was wonderful. Now, that was all today. Everything done with all very calm and peaceful, people helping you. I'm always overwhelmed at how nice people are in what actually, in a Western style, in a foreigner style, might be regarded as being an extremely frustrating and irritating thing to do. Never saw anybody get angry. I never saw anybody raise their voice. Never. And if you were about to sit down in the wrong place, somebody would say, "Oh," and point to the right place. Cooperation. It was really good. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and if you saw anything on this video that prompted a question, please do ask me. I'll be very happy to help. So like, comment, subscribe, and it helps us a great deal. If you only like, well, that would be great. Bye for now.